What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast today. It is Sunday, May 12th, 2019. This is episode 273, part number 3, to finally close out your Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to each and everybody out there, all you lovely mothers out there. If you don't have children of your own, fur babies actually do count in my eyes, man. So happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. I know my mother is home enjoying herself today with the family. Depending on the weather, my dad might take her out to her favorite restaurant, but no stronger woman that I know in my life than my mother. Deals with an unbelievable amount of stress and always puts each and every one of us first and foremost, man. So happy Mother's Day to my mother as well. We got a lot of news today. A lot of news. WWE's Saudi Arabia show might finally have a name. Starcast. This one really fucking just made me LOL, man. Holy shit. WWE shows you how truly petty they really are. This Monday, of all the Mondays that they had to do this, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Tom MaGee are finally going to be talking about their lost historic match that nobody's ever seen before. Really now. We'll go over my thoughts on that as well. I found that to be incredibly hilarious. Also, Triple H likes yet another fan tweet putting down Vince McMahon, saying that Vince McMahon should step down once the XFL is in full effect. Vince McMahon currently high on Andrade Cien Almas. I wonder why. We'll go over that as well. And Sasha Banks could potentially, I don't know if this is true or not. I highly doubt that it is. But Sasha Banks could realistically sit out the remainder of her WWE contract. And I would be in support of that 100%, man. We're going to go over all that today, plus so much more, right here on Off the Script. Make sure you guys go and check out everything that you might have missed this weekend, man. Goldberg's opponent for Saudi Arabia possibly revealed. Becky Lynch says Sasha Banks can't hack it in the WWE. Fox and NBC Universal want the WWE to end the brand split. And while the wild card rule is a waste of everyone's time, and on part 2 of Off the Script yesterday, man, a spoken word directed at all the non-believers of AEW. The AEW TV deal is virtually done to air this fall on TNT, and why AEW is going to be a welcome breath of fresh air. Why that promotion starting up is going to be such a great thing for professional wrestling. Make sure you guys go and check all of that out this weekend right here on Off the Script for episode 273. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. We're nearing 7,000 followers on Instagram, man. So thank you guys so very much for all of that. Please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. It is completely optional, completely up to you. And if you guys want to show some appreciation, I would love you for it. It's the only way to get exclusive content right here on YouTube that goes right to Patreon, man. You guys get early access, and you guys get a lot of the audio that you don't ever get on iTunes and Spotify. Also on iTunes and Spotify is Off the Script. So thank you guys so very much for all your support via the Patreon page. You guys know the deal with Harry's, man. Harry's, they're the boss around here. They are the Sasha Banks of Off the Script. Harrys.com/script for your free trial shave sets. A lot of people ask me, JD, why do you push Harry's so much? Well, I've actually, became very fond of Harry's when my dad and my brother turned me on to it. I was using Harry's before they even sponsored the podcast, and my mentality is that if I'm putting my name and my brand and my business to something, I physically want to be using it. And that was a marriage of perfect situations right there with Harry's, man. Harrys.com/script. I'm telling you, it's the best shave that I've ever had. I have not even looked at anything else when it comes to my shaving needs. Join the 10 million plus, including myself, and use Harry's. I love the smooth shave that it gives. I love the comfortable glide of the blade. I love the closeness that I get. And I have sensitive skin, which is perfect for me, and Harry's accommodates that as well. Harry's founders were tired of paying for razors that were overpriced, overdesigned, flex balls, and vibrating heads. These gimmicks that these other brands used for decades to raise prices. Harry's eliminated all that, man. They fixed all that. Simple, clean design with quality, durable blades. Great price. Harry's bought a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making quality blades for over 95 years. 20,000 five-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Their replacement cartridges are just $2, half the price of a Gillette Fusion Pro Shield, and you get a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, you're going to let them know, and they're going to give you a complete full refund. You're going to get a handle. Choice of color is yours. Orange, the navy blue, or the evergreen. A 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel. It feels great. It smells great. It leaves a beautiful tingling sensation on your face. I absolutely love it. And a travel blade cover as well if you're a man on the go, or if you're just a regular guy like me that likes to make a good presentation on your bathroom sink, man. It's great for the working man who needs to travel for work, or if you're just staying over your girl's house and you need to shave, you're going out on Saturday night and you want to look good, you could take it with you anywhere and anywhere, man. Harry's listeners, or listeners of the podcast, are going to get a free trial shave set. Harrys.com/script. Make sure you go to Harrys.com/script. Get this offer today and let them know that I sent you to help support Off the Script. All right, man, let's start the podcast off talking about WWE's next Saudi Arabian show, which is taking place on June 7th, 2019. They might finally have a name for this show coming up in June, and I find it to be a huge metaphor for what WWE is going through right now. WWE has an interesting name, for sure, for the next Saudi show, and it's not official yet, but according to WrestleVotes, WWE hasn't made up their mind about what they want to call the next Saudi Arabian show. After all, they don't use the Crown Jewel name anymore, as the event drew such a huge amount of controversy. Needless to say, WWE, in their infinite wisdom, are considering a very interesting name for the upcoming show on June 7th. Not official yet, but the name being discussed is WWE Sands of Time. Man, that hourglass, man. I'm envisioning the hourglass. Now we'll have to wait and see what happens if this is really the name, but if it is the name, man, what a fucking metaphor for what's going on right now. There's a few things that you can correlate with the Sands of Time name. Sands of Time. Time is running out for WWE to get that 3 rating for SmackDown Live before they move to Fox Sports. The Sands of Time are running out for AEW to hit the streets and push WWE shit in. I love it, man. Now, like I said, we'll have to wait and see until an official announcement is made. But I've seen flyers already. I don't know if they were fan-made or if they were doctored up by some fucking idiot who's trolling the community. But Sands of Time look to be the name right now for the next Saudi Arabian show, man. I love it. I love it. People are going to have so much fun with that. I can't wait to see what Twitter says about the name when it is officially revealed. Speaking of officially revealed, WWE has officially revealed how petty they really are. WWE is spoiling a huge Starcast attraction. Now, let me go back and paint this picture for you quite briefly. Undertaker and Kurt Angle were announced for Starcast. Now, WWE stepped in, they pulled The Undertaker, and then they pulled Kurt Angle. They eventually signed both to mega deals. Angle's got a 5-year deal, and they pulled him from all appearances. They don't want him doing anything. Same goes to The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker was making $60,000 for 3 hours to be at Starrcast. Any appearance that he was scheduled to have, he was making mega money. And I understand why WWE didn't want to do that as far as business goes. So they pulled The Undertaker. They signed him to a deal. I'm assuming it was a Legends deal. And he is no longer able to make any of those appearances. Whatever he's doing as far as Q&As and autograph signings, it cannot be at a non-WWE event. And I hope eventually WWE sits The Undertaker down and does an in-depth look at The Undertaker and a podcast on the network. If they don't want him speaking out of character as Mark Calloway, I understand that we went over this several times. The mystique of The Undertaker has pretty much been gone ever since he hit social media, ever since he started doing those tours, those Q&As. I believe, if you even search on YouTube, he's got those Q&As with that pastor that accumulated mega views. And The Undertaker, as far as his career goes, man, what stories that he could tell if he sits down and talks to anybody. That's money right there. WWE clearly, I hope, wants to do that with The Undertaker on their own network. I'm assuming that's why they pulled him. But hopefully they do end up doing that. Now, the WWE pulled these two men from Starrcast, and Conrad Thompson, the man who's in charge of Starrcast, he's putting everything together. I love his mentality. Yes, he's a businessman. Yes, he's going to do what is best for business for himself, and obviously it's an AEW production. Conrad actually offered himself up, saying that if Vince and Stephanie and Triple H and any of the McMahons want to come on into Starrcast, that all proceeds would go to Connor's Cure, and Conrad would match that number with his own money, which was a Hail Mary pass, and obviously all of them declined, but it was very telling how important this is to him. So he went out, and I don't know if this was a deal brokered by him and WWE, because I know Conrad's cool with people in the WWE. I don't know if this was a deal brokered by Conrad and the WWE, but WWE was allowing Bret Hart and Tom MaGee and footage, which is WWE-owned property, to be shown in full at Starrcast with the two of them being there. I don't know if Bret signed to a Legends deal. Tom MaGee, I'm sure, is just doing much of nothing nowadays. But they were going to be sitting there having a panel discussion about this match for the first time since this match is aired or taped. So WWE on Monday, this coming Monday, is taking this match, which happened in December of 1986, and they're going to show the match. They're going to air the match in full, and they're going to sit down Bret Hart and Tom MaGee, and they're going to go over everything that led to this match and talk about the lost history, this aura that this match has accumulated over the many years it's been lost. And I sit here and I laugh at this because people didn't understand where I was coming from. So the footage of that match was thought to be lost forever, but recently changed as the match was found on a VHS tape in Bret Hart's archives. Starrcast previously had The Undertaker and Kurt Angle booked for the event. WWE pulled them from all events, and WWE is not allowing them to do anything. So fans were upset. Fans paid money to get an Undertaker ticket, right? To get an autograph by The Undertaker. So Conrad rushed to get something else to accommodate everybody. It's not The Undertaker, but man, it's the first time ever that these two are going to be sitting down. So WWE made a concession with Starrcast as they are allowing the event to air. The famous Bret versus Tom MaGee match. There's even a Q&A with Bret and MaGee planned. Now, WWE is giving the match away on the WWE Network in a release from WWE this weekend. They said WWE Network to stream the infamous lost match between Bret and Tom MaGee, one of the greatest mysteries in sports entertainment history, has been found, and you will be able to see it along with a Q&A a spoken word explaining the story on WWE Network after Raw on Monday, on December 6th, 1986. Bret the Hitman Hart faced Tom MaGee in an untelevised match, tryout match, in Rochester, New York. After the bell sounded and McGee's hand was raised, he was labeled the next Hulk Hogan. But since the bout was untelevised, footage became lost over time until today. VHS tape traders tried in vain to chase down the cassette of Bret versus Tom MaGee for 3 decades with 0 results. But it was recently discovered as part of Hitman's tape library and is available Monday after Raw on the WWE Network. Check out this classic match and get the full story on how the tape was discovered, what happened to Tom MaGee, and much more by watching Holy Grail, the search of WWE's most infamous lost match, streaming Monday after Raw. Starcast obviously is still getting Bret Hart versus Tom MaGee, and they will still be there, but it is not totally exclusive, which everybody thought was going to be the case. At Starcast, it's not totally exclusive now that WWE is pulling this stunt. Are you fucking kidding me, man? I'm not even upset at it. I'm laughing at how petty WWE is. Now, granted, I will agree with all the cretins on social media. It's WWE's footage. It's WWE's likeness. They could do whatever they want with the footage. The footage wasn't found until recently, a couple of months ago. But you mean to tell me that WWE now, knowing that Starcast, an all-elite wrestling production, on the weekend of their first major show, which is a couple of weeks away, you mean to tell me that WWE is doing this now just for the fans? Or are they doing it because of AEW and Starcast? I don't understand how petty someone can be. WWE clearly, I'm assuming they had the footage. I'm assuming that whatever was filmed with Bret Hart and Tom MaGee has been sitting around for decades. Now, of all the days, they're airing this fucking footage. Give me a break. WWE is pretty much telling you, without outwardly saying it, that we are, I wouldn't say afraid, but man, are they intimidated by everything that All Elite Wrestling is doing. It's like a tit for tat. It's like, oh, if you're doing that, we could do it better. Now, granted, again, WWE owns the footage. I'm not even sure how many of those people own the WWE Network or are subscribed to the WWE Network. You could simply not watch it. You could simply save your experience for Starcast. Being that WWE is doing this, you don't have to watch what WWE is doing. You could go back and watch their version and their word of it on the network after you attend Starcast. Anybody could go and do that, but it's the fucking principle of the matter. It's WWE being petty. It's WWE bullying AEW. And I just find it incredibly hilarious how they're taking this now of all the fucking day. They could have aired this documentary any fucking time they want. It's not like they got Bret and Tom MaGee to sit down last week and record this for this week. They were sitting on this. They were sitting on this footage. They could have aired it any time over the last 3 decades. Now, 2 weeks before Double or Nothing, you're telling me, oh, well, it's WWE. They could do whatever they want. Bullshit. It's not by chance or coincidence that this is happening now. Are you fucking kidding me? Come on, man. You cannot be that fucking stupid. You cannot be that thick-headed. They're doing it because they know that, well, yeah, Bret and Tom MaGee are going to be there, but fuck them. We're going to go and do it on our own. Unreal, man. That is absolutely fucking... WWE is pretty much telling you that they're intimidated by everything that is going on right now with AEW. And yes, Starcast is an AEW promotion or a sponsored event. Give me a break. Unreal. Starcast will be getting Bret and Tom MaGee to talk about the match, so it's not exclusive to Conrad anymore. It's pretty hard not to notice the timing of the airing since WWE's putting this match out there just a couple weeks before Starcast officially kicks off. Man, if anybody ever tells me that WWE is not intimidated by AEW again, man, you are a clear fucking buffoon. Really. This is the cherry on top of the intimidation sundae. It's unreal. It is unreal. Vince McMahon, currently high on current SmackDown Live superstar. Really now? Really? Vince McMahon is very high on Andrade Cien Almas. I don't know why anybody would look at him and not already be high on Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade Cien Almas kind of floundered a little bit being called up from NXT. And it looks like now he is starting to gain some momentum with Zelina Vega, obviously, as his business manager. The duo is very important together. They go perfectly together. She does a lot of the talking for him. But Andrade, WWE has given him a little bit more of a speaking role, and I don't understand why. It's great if he learns English and betters himself at English on his off time, but I don't think Andrade should be speaking in front of a live audience with a microphone. Very rarely would I have that happen. And it's all going to be based on how important the match or the situation or the storyline is for Andrade. You'll eventually want to hear his thoughts where he can articulate for himself and express himself, where you can hear the tone of his voice and you can hear the anger in his voice, depending on whatever storyline they have him in. Until that happens, Zelina Vega should always be the one talking for Andrade Cien Almas, because at that point, why the fuck do you even have her there if you're going to have Andrade speak for himself? The whole reason Zelina is there is because she does the speaking for him. So I would really, really tone that down. Yes, great, he's learning English, he's bettering himself at English. That doesn't mean you have to put the microphone in his hand every single week, because you're diminishing Zelina's role. If Andrade's going to speak for himself, there really is no reason for Zelina to be there. So Fightful now is reporting that Vince McMahon is high on Andrade Cien Almas. He is a former NXT champion. His English is improving, and this is a big reason why he is earning such a big push right now, especially from when we last seen him on SmackDown Live. After all, his English language promo did not go too well on SmackDown Live. I don't want him to be speaking because he doesn't really articulate himself, but he's learning English, and Vince McMahon is seeing this, and apparently Vince is now again, which again I don't understand why. You should be high on Almas anyway, just based on what the fucking guy has done in the ring. But his English language promo on SmackDown Live didn't go too well. WWE superstars clearly need to speak English very well. This is a very important aspect of the company, and it's important because sometimes they are performing in buildings that don't have the best PA systems. Now, Andrade has been able to adopt a portion of his heel character where he gets heat for speaking Spanish, which is great, and then you could use Zelina to translate whatever Andrade is saying. So you got a 1-2 combo that could really be devastating for WWE if they use them effectively. Now, this is really effective if the audience knows that he can speak English, but he just chooses not to. Great heel tactic, very simple way to get him heel heat, real heel heat. And it's the same logic behind Kenny Omega's heel turn in New Japan, where the crowd knew he could speak Japanese, but he decided to cut his promos in English instead. Now, is Vince McMahon high? I have to throw this out there because I know I'm not the only one thinking this, and this might very well be the reason why Vince McMahon is so high on him. Not for his English. Is Vince McMahon high on Andrade Cien Almas because of his English, or because he's engaged to the Queen, Charlotte Flair? Now, does Andrade look better in Vince McMahon's eyes because of his taste in women? Because he's treating Charlotte Flair like the queen she deserves to be treated as? I don't know. But I know that's the best fucking career move that man could make. That move, right? I am telling you right now. Andrade being paired with Charlotte, treating her after all the relationship problems that she's had, Andrade treating Charlotte as a queen, legitimately, in their personal life. That is greater than any championship that man will ever win in the history of WWE. That will be the greatest fucking thing that man has done in his entire career when he looks back on the career that he built. What was the biggest standout in Andrade's career? He married Charlotte, or is getting married to Charlotte. They're paired together. They're a couple. And it's not by coincidence that now he is starting to get TV time, more TV time. He's probably going to, if I was booking it, probably going to win Money in the Bank, probably going to win Championship Gold this year. Whereas last year, we were all complaining, where's Andrade? We want more Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade should be a champion. How could you call this guy from NXT after everything that he's done there and just beautifully done with Zelina? How could you waste this guy on the main roster? Now, he's getting a push out of nowhere. Is it because of his English? No. It's because he's paired with Charlotte Flair. The political spectrum goes round and round and round and round. Now, with him dating Charlotte, it's good for us too because he's not going anywhere. If he's going to get married to Charlotte, he's not going to want to be away from her. He's not going to another rival promotion. Whereas Andrade was suffering. He was upset. He was unhappy. He was telling his friends in Dragon Lee and Roosh right now who are with Ring of Honor, don't come to WWE. I know they got interest in you. Do what you got to do. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. Now that Andrade is finding himself personal happiness, it's just out of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere that he's finding happiness on screen and success on screen. The greatest career move that man will ever make is getting engaged to Charlotte Flair. He is a king by association now. And Vince sees that. It's not because of his fucking English. You gotta be a fucking idiot if you're not high on Almas already, English or not. Now, the only downside to this that I really want to make sure you guys are aware of is that they're pretty much telling you that if you don't speak English, you're not going to be successful. If you don't speak English, Vince McMahon's not going to look at you in the light that you need to be looked at. So they're pretty much telling you and everybody that if you don't speak English, if you're not fluent in English, if you got a problem like Andrade does, or EO, or even though she speaks very good English, Kairi Sane, Asuka, anybody that doesn't speak English too well, you're going to have a major problem finding success in WWE. They're pretty much telling you that without blatantly saying it. That's the only part of this that I don't like. But man, is Andrade a fucking king now by association. Good. I think he deserves it, not because of who he's with, but because he's fucking great at what he does. Interesting situation with Nikki Cross. Now, everybody's wondering where Nikki Cross is. She's on Raw. Apparently, she got drafted to Raw. We have not seen her since the shakeup. And we have not seen her on SmackDown with the wild card rule in any sense of the word. But she was on Main Event. She's on Main Event. She's on Superstar. She's mingling with the nobodies over there. But Nikki Cross is now in an interesting situation because following her promo on Main Event this week, she seemed frustrated at the fact that she has not received much of a push. Now, she isn't the only one either. During that promo, she said what she needs to do in order to gain more attention. Like, what do I have to do to get more attention on the main roster? She questioned. And she started asking the fans. This could include a change of character for Nikki Cross. She says this, and I quote, Tonight was my chance. The newest Raw superstar, Nikki Cross, it was my chance to make an impact on Main Event. It was my chance, and I lost. I lost. Is there something I need to change here? Do I need to change? What needs to change? Do I just fight from the ground up, scratching and clawing? What needs to change? I'm always talking in the dark. Maybe it's time to step out of the dark and take a long, good, hard look in the mirror. End quote. Now, I didn't know this until today. Nikki Cross has uploaded a trilogy of videos to her YouTube account where she is in search of her lost evil twin. You can go find it on social media, type in Nikki Cross Evil Twin. It's worth watching because at the end of the third video that she uploaded, Killian Dane makes a shocking revelation to Nikki Cross who her wicked twin really is. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys. I want you guys to go and watch and let me know what you think down below. But I have this situation that I'd like to pitch for you. Now, with Sanity not being there, Nikki Cross really doesn't do much of anything as far as a character. Yeah, the character's good, the crazy, psychopathic bitch. Yes, we all understand it's a great character. Nikki played it incredibly well. Incredibly well. But you're not going to have her do that, and not be associated with Sanity. She was always associated with Sanity in one way or the other. So Sanity's not together anymore. Eric Young is God knows where. Sanity's dead. So Nikki Cross doing that is pretty much holding on to a failed gimmick on the main roster. I would not want her for that. I would not want her to go through that, because when you look at Nikki Cross that way, the Sanity Nikki Cross, you're going to associate her with a doomed gimmick. It's best to move her on to something else. Nikki Cross is so good at what she does. I would love to see Bray Wyatt legitimately have a new group. And I don't know where this Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse shit is going to lead to Bray Wyatt, or what it's going to do for Bray Wyatt, or where it's going to lead him in his new role in WWE. But I could see people who have been lost and people who have been forgotten welcomed into the Firefly Funhouse and just kind of reborn. I could absolutely envision seeing Nikki Cross act like Bray Wyatt is acting right now, with that sense of newness, that sense of reborn, but still kind of channeling her inner Nikki Cross, that inner evil that she has. Because Bray has done it himself. You see his facial expressions go from happy and waving to sinister at times. I could see that happening with Nikki Cross as well. What if Bray Wyatt welcomes Nikki Cross into the Firefly Funhouse and he leads her onto a new path? And she has a history just like Bray Wyatt does. You've made mistakes and you've done wrong in the past, and here I am welcoming you into the Firefly Funhouse because we all forgive you for your past sins. I could absolutely see her being a part of a new stable with Bray Wyatt. I would love to see Luke Harper do that as well. He could fit into that if they wanted to do that with Luke Harper. So I don't know if this is Nikki Cross channeling a new inner character for herself, but I could absolutely see if WWE wants to do this. I mean, it would be perfect for Nikki Cross to fit right into the Firefly Funhouse situation. Let me know what you guys think about that, but the woman is too talented to keep off television. I would love to see her in some type of role, and I hope WWE finds that role for her, because like I said, she's too good to be wasting away. Triple H agrees that Vince McMahon should step down from the WWE. This is interesting. This is the second time this has happened in a span of a week and a half. Now, Triple H might be next in line to run WWE's day-to-day operations, but Vince McMahon obviously is going to see that this company succeeds or fails under his watch. Now, we all know Vince is not going to let go of control. He's an egomaniac. He's a control freak. But with the XFL launch coming very, very soon, McMahon's plate might get very full, and he might need to delegate some power to running Raw and SmackDown to other people. I don't know if that's going to happen. I doubt it will, but we can all hope that when it does, Triple H should get the first shot. A lot of people have said that Triple H taking over WWE is not going to make that much of a difference. I disagree 100%. I disagree 100%. It cannot be any worse than it is now with Triple H involved. With Triple H running the day-to-day operations just for a little bit, I would love to see it. I doubt it's going to happen because we all know once Triple H gets in there running SmackDown and Raw week to week, we all know that we're going to see some sort of change. We're going to see the shows get better, and Vince doesn't want that. I've said it over and over and over again. Triple H running these shows is not going to happen until Vince McMahon is no longer breathing. Because if it does happen while Vince McMahon's alive, he's never going to put himself in the position or a situation to have him look bad or have him look like a failure. He's never going to allow anybody else in that position to do a better job than him. He will never be able to live with the fact that someone else came into his position and did a job that he's doing better. Simple. Simple. Now, one fan tweeted out a message saying that if WWE superstars can hang in there till Vince switches to his XFL pipe dream next year, things will improve. This is, of course, if Triple H gains control of the main roster in the process. This is what the fan tweeted out. Now, I don't believe that this was done by accident. I don't believe this was one of those situations where Triple H has his Twitter open and he ass-liked a tweet. But the fan said this, I quote, "I truly believe that if WWE talent can hang in there till Vince switches to his XFL pipe dream next year, assuming Triple H switches to the main roster control, things will actually improve. It's a ways away, but a hard reset plus a post-Fox deal growing pains would do wonders, in my opinion." End quote. Triple H obviously saw this tweet because he liked it. He quickly unliked the comment on Twitter as well, but this was not before a screenshot was taken to document the social media activity. This is not the first time Triple H has liked a tweet, obviously anti-Vince McMahon. Therefore, if this shows Triple H's actual opinion on the matter, then there's someone pretty high up in WWE who might agree that Vince McMahon needs to step down. I don't know how active Triple H is on his own Twitter. I don't know. I'm assuming people of that type of power have people who run their Twitter accounts. I'm not saying that they're exclusively run by other people. I'm sure Triple H sends out a tweet here and there by himself, but I don't really know how active he is on Twitter himself. But this was easily done on purpose. This was done on purpose. There's no way you're going to like a fucking tweet and have it happen by accident. It takes a lot to pick up your fucking phone, go to Twitter, and hit that like, that little heart button. Now, unless Triple H had his fucking phone open and it was in his suit jacket or his fucking pants pocket, you know, I never had my Twitter open in my pants pocket and accidentally like a fucking tweet. Now, what I have done is scroll up because Twitter sometimes is laggy. I have an iPhone 7, right? I have an iPhone 7 here. I sometimes scroll up and I accidentally like something that I didn't mean to like. Maybe it was a situation like that. But even then, a tweet like that, really, I don't know. You can interpret it as you wish. I don't know. But all I know is there needs to be change. All I know is people are frustrated, and I would bet the bank on Triple H being frustrated, not only with how the shows are being run, but how Vince McMahon manages NXT as well, and what Triple H has done for NXT, and how Vince McMahon swoops in and just has complete disregard for storylines. You think Triple H was happy with Ricochet, Aleister Black, Gargano, and Ciampa being called up out of nowhere without him knowing? You think Triple H is happy with Ricochet and Black being called up still? Finding homes on the main roster? He might be happy for them, but he's not a happy papa, I'll tell you that. We all know that when Vince goes, things creatively are going to get better. Because that's when Vince's team is going to slowly start to disintegrate. And Triple H is going to move his team slowly into battle. There's a reason why Triple H has named NXT Special Events TakeOver. There's a reason why Triple H has assembled his own team in NXT. Because Triple H is going to move whomever he's hired into the main roster positions, so we're better off. And Triple H is going to leave someone that he trusts completely in command at NXT to do what he continues to do now in NXT. It's going to be something that we all, as wrestling fans, could embrace and rejoice in. Now, Vince has done good, don't get me wrong. But in the last decade or so, product has gotten worse and worse and worse every single fucking week. Vince's mentality is a damaging one. Vince, I wish, with what he's done, I wish somebody would speak up. I wish this would translate to fucking spoken words. I wish someone like Triple H would say something to Vince McMahon. This is not working. This is what needs to be done. But then, at that point, I could see Vince McMahon not listening to anybody, thinking he's right, not wanting anybody else's opinion. You can tell he doesn't want anybody else's opinion because he's got 30-plus writers who write for him that ultimately everything that they do is a complete waste of time, and he goes on and does what he wants anyway. That entire show is Vince McMahon with very, very, very little input from anybody else. Every single week. I wish whatever Triple H liked here would be expressed in spoken word. I wish someone in his family, I don't believe how it hasn't happened yet, but I read a report somewhere that Vince McMahon's grandchildren watch the show and they tell him sometimes that this doesn't work and this is not right and this is illogical and you should change this and do it this way. He doesn't even listen to his own grandkids. So he's going to listen to his own fucking daughter? His own son? His own son-in-law? Who legitimately work for the fucking company and do what he does down in NXT? I tell you this every single week. If WWE borrowed from the NXT mentality and did what they did in NXT just a little bit on the main roster, things would get better dramatically. But WWE doesn't appreciate and respect NXT. They look down at NXT as if it's some wicked fucking stepchild. You know? It's disgusting. And they do that because they know what NXT is doing is right. And they don't like to be shown up. They want to think that they're the best. And whatever NXT is doing, every single takeover, every major pay-per-view is the biggest talking point of the entire WWE weekend that weekend. They know. They know that whatever NXT is doing is showing everybody up on the main roster, and they can't stand it. It's fucking jealousy. And at every twist and turn, they'll make Triple H look bad. They'll sabotage anything in NXT. They'll call up a talent and fucking bury them. Just for the simple fact that, oh, Triple H made you successful? You ain't going to be successful in WWE on the main roster. They look down at it as if it's fucking garbage. I will always feel that way, man. I don't think that anybody is in favor of what Triple H is doing. Because I know, I can tell you right now, I just get a sense that whatever Triple H is doing, people know that whatever Triple H is doing is they're just grooming him to take control. They're grooming him to take control and power when Vince McMahon is not there anymore. And those people who are loyal and dedicated to Vince McMahon know that when Triple H gets involved and gets more involved and eventually takes over, that they're not going to have a position anymore. And Triple H is going to move his own people in. Because Triple H knows that everybody associated with Vince McMahon on his team is absolutely ruining the fucking quality of the shows. There's no other reason for why we're getting the shows that we're getting. It's not in the hands of the right people. I can't wait for Triple H to take over WWE because it cannot get any worse than it is now. Man, I got much more to come here on Off the Script, but before we get into the rest of the podcast, I want to take a small break, talk about my brother's band, Legionary, my brother Frank. He just released a new song, 11 minutes, completely epic. The track is called Spiritual Warfare. If you guys are into this type of thing, it's unbelievable. A lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of passion, a lot of love went into this thing, man. Make sure you guys go and check it out. Link to all of his music, just not the new track, all of his new music, down in the description below. And I've said for the last couple of times that I've mentioned what he's done. If you guys support me here on Off the Script, if you guys support me enough to go buy a t-shirt, to hit the like button, to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or even subscribe to the entire channel right here on YouTube, you guys can certainly go out and support my brother Frank, man. This is his passion, this is his love, and I want you guys to experience what he experienced writing this thing, man. Unbelievable song. Spiritual Warfare, now available, as you guys can hear in the background. Unbelievable track. Link is down in the description below of this very video. Make sure you guys go and support what he loves to do most, just like what I love to do most here on Off the Script, and that is entertain and talk professional wrestling with you guys. Legionary, Spiritual Warfare, Bandcamp.com. Link is down in the description below if you guys want to go support my brother Frank and his musical band, Legionary. We got some Money in the Bank news, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't think this next piece of information is going to be a surprise to anybody, really. Fans will see The Miz and Shane McMahon on May 19th inside of a steel cage match It was noted in the Wrestling Observer that The Miz is likely to win this cage match at Money in the Bank against Shane McMahon. This will obviously fall in line with WWE's love for 50-50 booking. I don't really give a shit. In my eyes, I think the match at WrestleMania should have been the blow-off. So now Shane is feuding with The Miz. He's feuding with Roman Reigns. Shane has more going on for him than the average WWE mid-carder. When is enough enough? I don't give a shit. I didn't give a shit really then. I appreciated the effort and the fact that the storyline itself was pretty decent. But in all honesty, that Falls Count Anywhere match should have been the end-all be-all for Shane McMahon and The Miz. That's just the way I feel. So I know going into Money in the Bank that Shane McMahon's not going to get another one over on The Miz. It will fall in line with WWE's booking strategy of 50-50 booking. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anybody else, really, before we get to Money in the Bank. WWE is actually considering a big change to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, Brad Shepard is reporting on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that WWE is still trying to get Sasha Banks involved in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match on May 19th, presumably taking Dana Brooke's spot in the process. How many people on social media would be salty over the fact that Sasha Banks comes back and takes Dana Brooke's spot, citing that Dana Brooke never gets a chance? It would certainly fall in line with, I guess, whatever Dana Brooke is going with, that everybody else has gotten a chance and continues to get a chance, and she waited all these years for an opportunity. She's finally getting it. Imagine if WWE pulls her from the ladder match to replace her with Sasha Banks, someone who has done absolutely nothing because she's been off WWE television. How many people on social media would be upset over that little change? Brett Shepard's reporting, and I quote, "Last week, I reported that Sasha Banks was expected to return on the Money in the Bank Go Home show and be a part of the Money in the Bank women's ladder match." Now, of course, how she ended up in that match would never be specified. You know the participants were already announced. In the ever-evolving Sasha saga. He says, say that 5 times fast. I will not. I was told as of Monday they're considering having her take out somebody already in the Money in the Bank ladder match on the pay-per-view Go Home show and take her place or attack Dana Brooke at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view itself and take her spot. So look out for that being a possibility. Now, WWE actually just announced a fatal 4-way. I thought they were going to do this with the men and the women. Right now, it's just the women. So it's Naomi, Dana Brooke, Natalya, and Alexa Bliss in a fatal 4-way, because how do you spell uncreativity or lazy in WWE? Fatal 4-way with all the Raw women's participants. They're doing the same thing with the men on SmackDown Live, by the way, which I told you they would 3 weeks ago. What happened? I could write for WWE blindfolded in my sleep. So, we could possibly see that on Monday. Dana Brooke is in the Money in the Bank women's fatal 4-way here with all the participants. I don't know what the fuck the winner is going to get in this instance. I don't even know why shit like this is being booked. It makes legitimately no sense. All it does is show WWE's laziness. Oh, well, we don't have anything else for the women, so we'll take all the women's Money in the Bank participants on Raw and put them in a fatal 4-way. WWE 2019, when you look back at the year, it's going to be the year of the fucking fatal 4-way. Going to be the year of the gauntlet match, man. They run the course with everything. They fucking beat it with a baseball bat to death. So, we could ultimately see Sasha Banks, but I don't think we're going to see Sasha Banks. I honestly think, from what we've seen on social media and, you know, all the shit that Mikaze has said on social media, they're sticking firm. They're sticking to their plan. They're putting their foot down, and good for both of them. Good for both of them. I think if Sasha Banks came back now, I love the woman to death. I honestly think if Sasha Banks came back now, she would be looked at forever as the biggest fucking hypocrite in all of WWE. You know, Punk walked out, he never came back. No matter how many times WWE tried to get CM Punk to come back, he stayed gone. He stayed gone. Now, I know WWE's not going to release Sasha Banks from her contract. I heard rumors, I don't know how much of it is true, that she plans to sit out the remainder of her contract. I don't know. All I know is the woman needs to stand her ground. I don't give a fuck if she signed the deal. I don't give a fuck how many years she's got left. She's unhappy or unhappy. You don't need to do something because of what other people are saying. Remain silent. Remain happy doing what you're doing. And don't show them any other part of you. I love the fact that she's sitting out, man. That's a fucking move not many people have the fucking balls to make. I love it. And I hope she stands her ground. Going to the Money in the Bank ladder match, having plans for Sasha Banks at Money in the Bank, they're not going to do anything. WWE's not going to do anything with Sasha Banks. Now, I read a report today that WWE is willing to promise a lot to Sasha Banks for her return to the WWE. Now, post-wrestling, this is John Pollock's podcast. Post-wrestling and John Pollock have stated that WWE, now while they have no intention of letting Sasha Banks go, they are willing to promise her certain things to make her return to the WWE. He says, and I quote, "To my knowledge, WWE has no intention of releasing Sasha Banks from her current WWE contract and are willing to promise a lot of things to see her return." End quote. It will be interesting to see if Banks does return and what kind of role she will play. Her Money in the Bank ladder match spot was seemingly given away to Dana Brooke, and the company could have been planning a briefcase win for Sasha Banks. What would it have done? How could we get behind a Sasha Banks win in any capacity, knowing that WWE is always thinking of ways to ruin her and give her a championship and then immediately take it off of her, or give her a push and immediately bury her? Not going to make any difference if WWE brings her back for Money in the Bank and then has her win the briefcase. No difference whatsoever. And then with all the bullshit that she sees going on, what has Bayley gotten since her move to SmackDown Live? Nothing. What have the Revival gotten for simply turning down WWE deals to see how the rest of the year plays out? The fact that they turned down deals, now they're being embarrassed. Who's to say WWE doesn't bring Sasha Banks back to television and treats her like shit for sitting out for a month and a half? She doesn't know. WWE promised them the tag team championships. WWE promised Sasha and Bayley a major run with the titles to establish those titles. What did WWE do? Behind her back, behind Bayley's back, they did nothing but devise plans on taking the titles off of them after promising them a reign with the championships to get prestige to those newly created titles. And Sasha Banks is supposed to believe WWE's promises? Empty fucking promises. Unless fucking the WWE has Will Smith come out of a fucking magic lantern and create things like this, I don't see WWE doing anything as far as promising Sasha Banks a goddamn fucking thing. Let's forget about Sasha Banks. As long as the woman is happy and healthy, that's all we give a shit about. Stand your ground and don't give in to these fucking suits and ties. Because they ultimately want nothing more than for you to return, to use you, and then not give you anything that they promise. That's the way I feel about it. How many years has that woman been in WWE and they promised her what? 4 years now. After 4 years, you can take a look back at what they've done with her on the main roster. Why would she ever want to go back? Without WWE, Sasha Banks is a nobody. So WWE used Sasha Banks, and now Sasha Banks is using WWE. The world goes round and round and round. WWE took Mercedes, and they molded her into Sasha Banks. They've given her all this worldwide fame, right? Now Sasha Banks can turn around and use the WWE just like WWE used Sasha Banks. It's fair fucking game. Fuck you for thinking, oh, Sasha Banks, she's ungrateful. WWE made her. Just like they made everybody else. WWE doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody. Anybody. They use you, and then when they don't find need for you anymore, they fucking bring you out back and fucking put a fucking shotgun to your head, man. They don't give a shit about you. I'm glad she's standing her ground. I hope she continues to do so. Vince McMahon reportedly considering a major change for Becky Lynch. Uh-oh. What does that mean? Brett Shepard's reporting on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that Vince McMahon is thinking about giving Lacey Evans a huge win on May 19th. That could shock the WWE universe. It's not going to be shocking to me when it happens. I'm actually anticipating it happening. He says, and I quote, and Brett Shepard is a huge Becky Lynch detractor, by the way. Now, he's outwardly said, if you pay attention to what he tweets, the Becky Lynch character is not doing anything for him. He has no problem with Rebecca Quinn, but it's Becky Lynch. And you know what? I didn't really fall completely out of favor with Becky Lynch, but man, I'm not going to blame Becky for it. It's WWE. It's WWE's fault. That woman is doing literally everything she can to grasp onto whatever she has left right now, being that Ronda Rousey is not there. It's WWE's fault that Becky's in the situation she's in. Fans thinking she's losing momentum. The fact that nothing around Becky Lynch is exciting anymore. There's a reason why. It ain't Becky Lynch. He says, and I quote, I was told WWE is strongly considering having Lacey Evans defeat Becky Lynch at Money in the Bank. Vince McMahon is very high on Lacey Evans. I wonder why. And thinks it could be a shocking moment if she won. End quote. Now, Vince McMahon has been very high on Lacey Evans since before she was called up, apparently. She's even been compared to Roman Reigns in regards to where McMahon sees her in the company as a top superstar. If McMahon puts the Raw Women's title on Lacey Evans, then it would be a big change for Becky Lynch because it would give her one less show to appear on. However, it is interesting to see how previous reports indicated that Lynch would end up on the Raw brand after her reign with 2 titles is over. Now, I would not be shocked just based on what we've seen already with Lacey Evans and what we all feel in the community about Lacey Evans. You think the currying favors is a line for Becky Lynch to sound cool. No. There are a political movement, or there is a political movement, there are political agendas in WWE to the likes of a Lacey Evans and a Charlotte Flair and an Alexa Bliss. If you don't really understand that or see it, then you're a fucking fool. You're a fucking fool. You're a blithering idiot. It's right in front of your fucking face. All you have to do is open your eyes. Now, for Becky Lynch to lose the Raw Women's Championship, I guess it really doesn't mean anything. A couple of weeks ago, we were discussing the possibilities of the outcomes here. I guess with the wild card rule now, it really doesn't really make a difference what happens. She could lose one title, she could lose both titles, and still end up on both shows. But before we were talking about, well, if Becky Lynch loses the Raw Women's Championship and then beats Charlotte for the championship, I would assume that Becky would end up on SmackDown Live, being that she's the SmackDown champion, right? But how much sense did that make when, in actuality, realistically, she's needed on Monday Night Raw? So I was thinking it would happen the other way around. She would beat Lacey Evans and lose the SmackDown title to Charlotte. I could see a situation where Lacey Evans loses, but remains strong. Now, she could do a post-match attack. She could beat Becky Lynch down after the match and really injure her and weaken her to where she goes into the match with Charlotte. She's not 100%. She loses the SmackDown title. Charlotte stays on SmackDown as the champion of that brand. And Becky, which Monday Night Raw needs a star in that division because Alexa ain't going anywhere. I don't see her really doing much of anything. They don't really have anybody else. Sasha Banks is gone. Ruby Riott is fucking completely lost. WWE doesn't have any star power in that division. So I could see Becky Lynch staying on Raw with the Women's Championship. Now with the wildcard rule instituted, it really doesn't matter. I could see Becky losing both titles on Sunday night. It's not going to make a lick of a difference. You're going to have Charlotte on Raw. You can have Becky on Raw. Doesn't really make a difference. Bayley could be on Raw. Which I don't understand because you're pretty much telling me the brand split means nothing. And if you merge the divisions like you should have, then none of this would really be a talking point. But as far as Becky Lynch goes with Lacey Evans, I could see Lacey Evans win the title. And I could see Charlotte win the title. And Becky, they completely start all over with Becky Lynch going into next year's WrestleMania. Because apparently they got major plans for Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 36, which I don't really take all that seriously. Plans change like clockwork in WWE. But as far as a major change for Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans winning the title, is it really that major of a situation? I think a lot of people anticipate that happening. And is it justified? That's what I want to know. Is it justified? Are people going to shit on Lacey Evans for getting a title shot so soon, winning the championship for basically doing nothing? This could backfire on WWE. Now, the wild card, and I'm not talking about the wild card rule, the wild card in this situation, WWE could go into Money in the Bank with the feeling of Becky Lynch losing momentum. If she ends up beating Lacey and Charlotte by the end of the night, man, what a moment that would be for Becky Lynch. Does WWE really want to take the titles off of Becky Lynch, being that she's already rumored to be the WWE 2K20 cover star, just like AJ Styles? They didn't immediately take the title off of AJ Styles. They had him with the championship to grace the cover. He was the WWE champion going to all promotional work for WWE 2K. Now, if the cover is going to be announced anytime this summer, does WWE want Becky Lynch on the cover as the dual champion? Or does WWE merely want to use Becky Lynch because she's been the biggest talk in the females division? It could go either way. But that could certainly be a wild card in which we see Becky win both of her matches and retain both titles at Money in the Bank. Something that I don't think people are really talking about right now. But a major change for Becky Lynch does not need to come in the form of taking a title off of her and assigning her to one specific brand. The major change needs to come in how you're booking this woman. You're overexposing her to a point where fans don't really give a shit about Becky Lynch. They're not as invested in Becky Lynch. How could we be emotionally invested in someone that we see over and over and over again, Monday and Tuesday, on two different segments every single week? You're not giving us a moment to miss Becky Lynch. And this is why we see a decline in her momentum, because more and more people are getting sick of seeing Becky Lynch, and WWE is, in a way, punishing us as fans. You wanted Becky? You, the fans, changed our plans from the original plans. Becky wasn't even supposed to be here. Now you want Becky? Well, we're going to give you Becky. It's like the fans are being punished by WWE. You wanted Becky? Here's Becky in an abundance. You either love Becky or you hate Becky, and people are losing favor. They're losing that taste, that delicious taste of Becky Lynch. Now they want something else. Whether it's in the form of a Lacey Evans or a Sasha Banks or a Charlotte or anybody. Becky Lynch is trying to do whatever she can via social media. And WWE has done nothing to help her cause. She still goes out there and talks about Ronda Rousey. Why is she talking about Ronda Rousey? Because everybody knows that Becky Lynch doesn't have that villain. She doesn't have that villain to feed off of. Now, maybe with the wild card rule, that's going to change. Maybe we'll see more of Charlotte on Monday Night Raw, feuding with Becky Lynch. But how many more people are going to be upset at that? I think we're over that aspect as well. It's now to a point where the fans are feeling the Sasha Charlotte situation. Too many times, that's all WWE did was force that upon you. How many people are going to be interested in another Sasha or another Becky Lynch and Charlotte situation? They're not. WWE's fucked this completely all up. Becky doesn't have a villain. WWE doesn't have a villain in place for Becky Lynch. They're trying with Lacey Evans, but people are smart. They understand what's going on here. Charlotte has been done to death. Nobody gives a shit. WWE has done a huge injustice to Becky Lynch, and it's showing. It really is showing. And I would not be surprised if that woman loses both titles on Sunday night at Money in the Bank. But that wild card of the WWE 2K cover possibly being Becky Lynch is the only hope any Becky Lynch fans have of her in winning both of those matches and retaining both of those titles. So we'll see what happens. Becky Lynch's momentum. Brett Shepard touched upon this as well, which I talked about here. According to a source, people in the company believe that WWE's wearing the Becky Lynch thing out. It's their own doing. It's lazy writing. Weeks and weeks and weeks of her still talking about beating Ronda Rousey. You can't let go of the Ronda Rousey situation because with Ronda leaving, Becky has nothing. They believe that the two matches at Money in the Bank will be the first cracks in the Becky Lynch armor, so to speak, and they believe the crowd would pop if Lacey Evans won. I don't think so. I honestly do not think so. He says, It's a very interesting perspective of somebody in WWE as how they feel Becky Lynch thing is continuing to play out. End quote. It would be interesting to see if the company goes ahead with this. Becky Lynch's momentum is dwindling. And again, it's not her fault completely. It's WWE's fault. It's overexposure. I don't see... Becky Lynch is still the number one merchandise seller. Becky Lynch is still getting the reaction from the crowd. Becky Lynch is getting huge social media interaction, man. Every tweet she puts out, 20, 30,000 likes easy. It's there. It's just the fact that the way she's presented on TV, WWE thinks we want more Becky Lynch. WWE thinks that the TV shows need more Becky Lynch. But all it's doing is overexposing her, and people are actually pointing the finger of blame to Becky Lynch, whether it's coming from WWE or the fans, which I don't really agree with. Fans are pointing the finger of blame at Becky Lynch, saying that the ratings are a direct effect of Becky Lynch being on television. The ratings decline, and the lowest ratings ever, and WWE accumulating these low ratings has to do with Becky Lynch, sort of. I don't agree with that. You can't blame Becky Lynch for WWE's wrongdoings. You can't blame Becky Lynch and not blame anybody else on the roster. Becky Lynch might be the most popular entity in WWE, but that doesn't mean she's a direct effect of the ratings decline. Oh, Becky Lynch is champion. The ratings aren't going up. If Becky was so popular, the ratings would go up. That's not right. You can't say that. You can say the same thing about Seth Rollins. You can say the same thing about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns ain't a ratings draw either. Every time he's on TV, ratings are down. So if you're going to blame Becky, you're going to blame Roman too. You can't point the finger of blame at one talent. Everybody on that roster is not where they should be. There's not one person on that roster that you could look at and say is a warranted superstar. Everybody's at the same level. And WWE wants it that way. You can't blame Becky. Fans are fickle. It's WWE's fault. Write better shows. Then maybe the Becky Lynch momentum would be going up and not going down. Becky Lynch's reported plan for WrestleMania 36. I don't believe anything about any rumors coming out of WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer actually touched on this, saying that WWE is booking Becky Lynch for Charlotte Flair at Money in the Bank for an interesting reason. They don't plan on throwing that match again next year at WrestleMania. However, Lynch's opponent is not actually disclosed. We all know that Ronda Rousey is not Becky Lynch's planned opponent either. However, Ronda deciding that she wants to come back to WWE could certainly change things. We really should get a one-on-one match between the two because the door was left open at WrestleMania. So I could see that actually happening if Ronda wants it. But right now, nobody knows who is slated for Lynch in that top spot at WrestleMania. Now, they're not going to be main eventing next year. It's going to be a major match, but right now, between now and then, it could change every fucking day for the next 300 fucking days. We don't know. But apparently, they do have a plan for Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 36. It could be, and I don't want to throw bad karma into the air, it could be Stephanie McMahon. It really could be. Because I know that was rumored. If that doesn't happen at SummerSlam, we could certainly see that happen at WrestleMania, because we all know the McMahons always have to have some sort of major match on WrestleMania. Shane has had a plethora of matches at WrestleMania. Maybe Stephanie steps into the ring and goes one-on-one with Becky Lynch. Who knows? I'm not interested in it, and I'm not really all that keen on talking about WrestleMania 36 now anyway, because nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen on Monday, let alone April in 2020. Major changes coming to the WWE Network. Per WrestleZone, WWE is actually changing and relaunching the WWE Network later in 2019. In this relaunch, it was revealed that the new and improved WWE Network will have new content, the ability to download shows offline, increased customization, and multiple tiers. The latter idea is something that's been speculated for a while now, but not confirmed. Now, it was noted that Progress and WXW, other independent promotions that WWE have a working relationship with, could be headed to the WWE Network as far as a different priced tier. Now, as if that was not enough, it was also revealed that WWE will be announcing their official podcast partner in the near future. Now, Something to Wrestle With was on there with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I know Chris Jericho, they might have one show. Mick Foley had a podcast on there, whether you want to call them podcasts or not. Sit-down interviews. WWE has not had a long-term official podcast partner, so they want to capitalize on the growing podcast market in the wrestling industry. This is something that WWE are clearly looking into. So we'll see what happens with that. Any changes coming to the WWE Network, I am going to be in favor for it. They have my money because, A, I rely on it for work reasons, and it's worth whatever they price it at. You might hate the product. You might find that the product is so shitty on television that you don't want to support WWE via the WWE Network. That's fine. You're going to do what you want with your own money. I can't tell you what to do with your own money. I know that it's worth it for me because NXT and the catalogs of just old WWE shows, The Vault, all that stuff, you know, the WWE 24 documentaries, it's all great shit. Table for Three, I love Table for Three. It's worth the price of admission, believe me. I am very critical of WWE more so than anybody, and the WWE Network is just everything that WWE's ever done. If you're a lifelong fan, I don't know why you wouldn't be subscribed to the network. I understand that you might be disenfranchised with the fucking shows now. You might have some hate towards the shows now, which we all do, but the WWE Network, to me, is everything you want from the company in one spot. So I don't know why you wouldn't invest in the network. So we'll see what happens to that, man. The customization I'd love. Honestly, what I would like is for the OG fuck. I've been signed up to the network ever since 2014. I've been every step of the way since day one, man. They should send you a free t-shirt or free tickets to a fucking show. They got to take care of their every month subscribers, man, from day one. We should get some kickback or something. Seriously. Whether it's a t-shirt, the choice of your own t-shirt from WWE Shop, or something along the lines of an item from Shop. Under a certain value, of course. I mean, if they're going to give me anything, I'll take a fucking championship replica title. You know? Tickets to a show or whatever. Something. We get nothing. We get absolutely nothing from the WWE as far as being a subscriber to the network. So hopefully things change, and I'm going to be interested to see what comes as far as customization and what other independent promotions that we could possibly see on the network that work with WWE, how the prices are going to be as far as tiers go. Right now it's $9.99. I could see it going up to $12.99. I know Netflix is $11.99 now. I can't see it being more expensive than Netflix. They'll probably do like a $4.99, which gives you minimal access to the WWE Network. Then they'll raise it to $9.99, and then another tier could be $12.99, $14.99. I don't know, depending on what they're going to provide you in these tiers. Even at $15, if they do raise the price to $15, which is $5 more than what it is now, it's still worth every fucking penny. So I'm going to be interested to see what they got coming to the WWE Network. That's pretty exciting as far as a subscriber goes. Now, WWE, this will be the last thing that we talk about here. And I talked about this on SmackDown Live. Why WWE put Daniel Bryan in a tag team and ultimately gave him and Rowan the tag team championships. Now, Brad Shepard talked about this on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast and said that a very likely reason why WWE put Daniel Bryan in a tag team was to give him an environment to perform in that won't be as dangerous, so he can have someone help carry the load for a little bit. He says, and I quote, "So Daniel Bryan and Rowan win the tag team championships. He's obviously coming off a neck and back injury where he had little time off, and they put him back with Eric Rowan, who is a very large man, but also very boring. And, it allows him to work those matches and get less physical, and obviously that's healthy for him right now." End quote. A little harsh there on Rowan being boring, but to each his own. Bryan is coming off an injury, and WWE doesn't want to re-aggravate it at all. Therefore, it's a good idea to keep Bryan in a tag team situation right now for the time being. However, he proved on Monday's episode of Raw that he could still go in a one-on-one match, so I don't really understand the logic behind putting him in a tag team. SmackDown Live also desperately needs tag teams. They were placed in a pretty difficult situation with the Hardy Boys, having them relinquish the tag team titles, even though Matt seems to be pulling for an R-Truth pairing, I believe, from what we've seen. Now they can become a pairing until Jeff comes back. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but apparently they're feuding with Mr. Lars Sullivan. Hopefully Daniel Bryan and Rowan, right now, as far as the team goes with them, will not only give the tag team division some notable names, but also elevate everyone around them. I mentioned this on SmackDown Live. This is nothing more than a fucking Band-Aid on an overall profusely bleeding wound. Now, giving Bryan and Rowan the tag team championships, looking at it, it sounds like it's a good idea because Bryan is so over as a fucking heel that everybody that they're in the ring with, if they somehow lose those titles to a up-and-coming babyface team, that's made right there. You're going to instantly make another team. But giving them the tag team championships out of thin air is a slap in the face to all other tag teams in the WWE. You're pretty much telling us that you don't know what the fuck you're doing with your tag teams, and you're giving Bryan and Rowan the tag team titles because you don't have faith in all the other legit tag teams in WWE. What about Heavy Machinery? What about an AOP? With the superstar shakeup and the wild card rule that is, we could see a War Raiders come on over and win the tag team championships. We could see, the Usos, like we've seen on SmackDown Live, come on over and challenge for the SmackDown Live tag. We could see the Revival. Being that the wild card rule is open to any and everybody, why can't we see tag teams come on over? This is why I don't understand why they didn't merge the divisions to begin with. This would have offset everything. This would have caused everybody in WWE to have just those overbearing problems just fucking find solution with an easy fix. Bryan and Rowan are tag team. Great. But what does it say to me? It means that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Yeah, it's great that Daniel Bryan gets a reduced workload by working a tag team environment with Eric Rowan. But what does it really mean? You still have no division on SmackDown Live. I just can't get behind it. I can't get behind it fully, even though I love what Daniel Bryan is doing. The only aspect of it I could get behind is the fact that he's so over as a fucking heel, and him wanting to change the titles, and him saying it. You're going to believe what he says, that he's going to make the tag team titles relevant again. That's all great. But is WWE going to give him an opportunity to do so? I doubt it. Now, in the landscape of WWE, it does kind of make sense because he lost to Kofi Kingston now twice. Once at WrestleMania to the title, or for the title, and he lost again on Monday Night Raw. Which, I don't understand why he got a rematch anyway when the rematch clauses are no more. But he has no more shots at the world title. He's done. He lost fair and square, clean. So putting him in a tag team title situation, I guess makes sense to a point where he can't be challenging for the world title, but how did he get mixed in with the tag team championships? There's no explanation there. I honestly think it's just a Band-Aid over a huge wound that will not go away. And I hope WWE knows what they're doing. And the wildcard rule is bullshit. We talked about this on Friday. It's going to cater to the Roman Reigns and the Charlotte Flairs and the Becky Lynches and the Seth Rollins and the AJ Styles of the world in WWE. They're going to use those high-profile names, quote-unquote, to go back and forth between these shows because those are their biggest stars. WWE's not going to waste the rule on a Revival. WWE's not going to waste the rule on a Ruby Riott. All the mid-card acts in WWE are not going to get a opportunity with the wildcard rule. WWE is specifically saving it for the big guns because those are the names that drive ratings, according to WWE. So this is a moot point. I can't fully get behind this. It's great in theory, but it's just another way for WWE mask a problem that is a big problem in WWE. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. We will be back with a brand new week of content, starting with Raw tomorrow night. Apparently, WWE has set up a Monday Night Raw that doesn't look all that exciting, but at least they have notified you all of what is to come on Monday night. We got a contract signing with Charlotte and Lacey Evans with Becky Lynch. Fatal four-way between the women's participants of the Money in the Bank. Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman. So we got something announced for Monday Night Raw, as well as Roman Reigns on Miz TV. Wow, that's fucking exciting, man. Unbelievable. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll be back right here with the podcast, as always, on Monday night, and then on through the rest of the week for WWE. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. This week's videos, man, Off the Script Extra, talking about Goldberg and his Saudi Arabia opponent, and Off the Script this weekend. Fox and NBC want the brand split canceled. We got AEW and their TV deal virtually done. We talked about that this weekend. Make sure you guys go and check that out. Link is in the top right corner, the annotation that you see in the top right corner. Harrys.com/script for your free trial shave set. Thank you guys so very much for all that. And again, hit that thumbs up, man. Thank you guys so very much. We'll see you right back here on Monday with more content to begin a brand new week right here on Off the Script. Until then, have a great Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, and I will see you right back here for Monday Night Raw. I'll talk to you later.